Hello everybody, I am Penguin.
And I am Shan.
And I would like to welcome you to MLG Shattered Temple, where we will be jumping right into game number 2 of this quarterfinal match between Rigeki and XoxoHolic. Are we just calling him Holic, Sean?
I called him XoxoHolic, actually.
Okay,
it's actually
XoxoHolic, that's his name.
XoXoHolic. I understand what he means. He's addicted to kisses, hugs and kisses, which is really, really cool. But yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yes, and the right spawn location, we are seeing XoxoHolic.
And right here in the left side spawn, I like to refer to Shattered Temple as a little rectangle of spawns. In the top left corner of that rectangle is the purple Terran, up 1-0 in the series. Has won two TVZs in a row against 2 different players, and let's see if he can make that 3 in a row and close out this best of 3 in so doing. His name is the Purple Terran Rigeki.
Realize this, I am an avid Yu-Gi-Oh fan because I am just so not cool. But Rigeki is actually the name of a card that kills all of your opponent's units. So as we saw in the last game, that's what Rigeki is actually best at. So
Indeed,
fitting name for a pretty awesome Master League Terran. And I was on the stream watching the latter half of that last game, and I think one of the things that XoxoHolic really did not do was he didn't capitalize on the fact that he had tons of Lings, and at one point he just morphed all of his Lings into Banelings and ran them straight into Thors, and Banelings do not do well against Thors.
Indeed, they do a lot of splash damage, but with Thors, not very much splash to be doing, mostly just want to be doing damage to a single unit. And I felt like he tried to mess a little bit with the Roach Tech. I think maybe I was mistaken with seeing something there. But either way, he definitely should have used those Lings much better at single target combat.
One of the things that I also did notice is that Rigeki, I'm not sure if this is delivered or not, but he got a really, really nice split with his Thors, and that's not something you see very often. People going, oh crap, Banelings, let me micro my Thors and do a Thor split. That was pretty impressive.
I feel like Thor splits are a little bit easier than Marine splits. So, yeah,
Marine King Prime
we do have a very fast expansion going down for XoxoHolic, as I call him, or I'll just call him Hugs and Kisses.
Okay, we'll just switch between the 2 names because I prefer XoxoHolic.
Okay, that's
argument.
It's more ethnic, XoxoHolic.
Yes.
Yeah. So
spawning pool just finishing up for XoxoHolic, and we are seeing a factory opening from Rigeki going straight into that factory, and it's right next to the barracks. So I think we can. Yes, there's the reactor. He will definitely be going with that blue flame, not necessarily blue flame, sorry, but with that Hellion opening that we saw against the last Zerg opponent he played. That I'm not sure if we saw in the last game.
We did see it in the last game. The 2 games ago was actually much more standard Marine tank play, but here we are going to see a regular Hellion opening into fast expansion, or not fast expansion, but fast relative to the time in which he makes the factory. And as soon as that reactor comes up, he's probably going to be lifting off that barracks. Kind of
losing a little bit of time here. He's he's taking a little long on that. I feel like that might. I feel like both players are doing it. See if that punishes him at all. But
with Hugs and Kisses as well, like when that spawning pool came up, his money was very high, and it took him quite a couple of seconds to get his queen making. And this is a game of inches, a game of seconds, a game of milliseconds when it comes to PvP. But those couple of seconds make all the difference in a tournament, especially at a certain level of play, which these players have been exhibiting throughout the tournament.
And definitely, and we are seeing a tech lab coming up on this barracks, and it makes me wonder whether he's going to switch that up with another factory and go with the blue flame upgrade that we saw. I
would think he's simply planning on making a couple more Hellions and then transitioning into siege mode. But I don't know. The thing about Terran Tech it is so fluid once you have one production facility and one add-on per production facility, and you can just switch around between the 2 and just figure out what tech you want, customize it as per your build order.
We are seeing a Roach Warren coming up for XoxoHolic here, who does have a pretty significant supply lead already, which he has quite a few more drones as well. He has 9 more drones, and 10 more drones than his opponent has if he's at this point. He's doing very well in his macro, but he's very oversaturated in his main because he doesn't really want to move those guys down to his natural just yet. I'm an idiot. He just moved them down to his natural, and I'm just gonna let you take over and save me, Sean. Save me.
He does definitely have decent saturation in his natural. He's mining quite efficiently from his that first expansion, but he is definitely at the same time want to be joining up, and I feel like a lot of players come to the common misconception that you don't want to be oversaturated in any of your bases. Oversaturation is really great for Zerg because it means that once you get that expansion up, you can immediately saturate the new expansion, and that gets you a serious economic lead. So it's always good to make drones, no matter what. It's always good to be making
Definitely.
drones.
I feel like that was a little bit of a not-so-great engagement for XoxoHolic. He lost 8 lings, not actually killing any of those Hellions off. Additionally, just another thing I noticed, I don't like the placement of this evolution chamber, and I know why it's there. It's there to stop them from going in kind of as a mini wall, but I prefer to put it on the other side so it also has the added advantage of also blocking the ramp. And I just feel like this is not utilizing this eco chamber to the best of its ability.
Yeah, indeed. That does reduce the surface area of the entryway into the mineral line, which actually is quite good because it allows him to get multiple shots off with those spine crawlers because he has to line up those SCVs. But at the same time, they could just run up into his main, and there's not very much to deal with it up here in the main. That said, look at the units killed tab. Actually, 8 units killed by Rigeki, and that's actually not very good at all for XoxoHolic, as you can imagine, because he has
losing a heli and running it right into those roaches. Sorry.
There we go. Finally, he gets a kill with those roaches, but at the same time, those are roaches, so they're very slow, and they're not...
Very bad position here. Losing a lot, taking a lot of hits on those roaches. There's only 2 of them left now, and they're being sort of chased after by this pretty scary army. It's down to 1 roach here, going to try to he doesn't even snipe that Hellion that he was trying to get. That was a pretty bad engagement for XoxoHolic, and Rigeki looks like he's ready to just make a pretty big marine tank push.
I keep saying it, I said it before, and I'll say it again. Roaches in a cross-spawn macro map are just, they have their uses, but at the same time you have to be very careful on how you invest in them. And pushing out with roaches is not a very good idea in almost every scenario if they have tanks, because even though those Hellions are sitting ducks for the roaches, these tanks will simply eat into the roaches until the Marines can actually clean them up very easily. And actually, the roaches doing quite well, but can they survive these constant tank hits? The unsieged tanks are getting their shots off, and actually, they're doing quite a bit of damage.
Micro by XoxoHolic, able to get right next to those tanks, preventing that one tank from taking any shots whatsoever. We'll take out the tanks, and that should allow him to clean this up pretty easily.
But at the same time, reinforcing Marines coming in, and he is going to have to pull back his roaches, and it is going to become a bit of a micro battle at this point. And even though those roaches did manage to hold it off, think about the cost of the roaches. Roaches are quite an expensive unit for being tier 1.5, and that is certainly going to factor in to the late game and to the economy as he is trying to make drones, but instead going out for attacks.
He's going to be moving across the map with the roaches now, and just to expand on what you were saying earlier about the roaches and their uses on macro maps, I feel like you're very right about the early roaches, but I feel like once you get speed, you can start to push out with them. The problem was that he did not get speed early enough at all. He waited for speed until he had a very good number of roaches out, and that was a big problem. You can't push Marines that are far more mobile than...
the Nidus network.
I'm sorry, there is a Nidus network.
Let us see if he uses that creatively. He does have... Oh my goodness! Rigeki does not have vision here. He's going to get a Nidus into the main, and nothing is here to actually scout it. It is going to build. I'm just focusing on this. Meanwhile, there is a Hellion here, just sort of like da-dee-da-dee-da. Meanwhile, there's a Nidus in my base.
Nidus goes up successfully, and there is absolutely nothing in this base.
PengWin.
We are seeing a lot of missile turrets up here for Rigeki for no real conceivable reason.
The SCV, that is not what the SCV wanted to see when he came out to scout.
Not at all. Not the nicest
PengWin, PengWin.
Queen in the main.
This is how you use roaches.
Exactly how you use roaches, and the Queen in the main will be able to spread some creep, but he's not going to be doing that. He's just going to sort of chill with the Queen and try to fight. But the roaches are doing terrible damage here. And all the SCVs are blocking the troops from being able to get any really good shots off, and the tanks are going to try to siege up, but of course they will do splash damage to those SCVs and those Marines as long as the roaches stay close.
And this is actually... And they can just pull back into the night. He's going to lose the Queen, but I guess he's just going to get as many worker kills as he can, and that is 9 workers killed.
Does get the creep tumor in there as well. The creep will start spreading throughout this base.
Oh
that
my goodness,
will
that
be
will be
what
so
Rigeki
annoying.
wants to see.
He will not be able to get a supply depot up to get vision there, so he's going to have to keep units there. And that is very, very annoying if you're the Terran player.
We see XoxoHolic. That wasn't quite as bad an engagement for Rigeki as I initially thought.
He did lose 9 workers.
He is going to spend a scan to kill off that creep tumor. And you're right, he did lose nine workers, but I feel like 9 workers for maybe 20 roaches or so, not exactly the nicest trade-off.
But at the same time, 9 workers killed for 20 roaches, better than having your 20 roaches sit idly in your main for about 5 minutes and just do absolutely nothing.
I would agree. But taking those units lost station, though, XoxoHolic has lost more than 2,000 resources more than Rigeki at this point. Which does not look very favorable towards him, but that Nidus Worm was very creative, and I think one of the things might be that, of course, that also puts Rigeki on the back foot where he's going to be a little bit more careful moving out. He's not going to be as eager to move out because he knows that Nidus network is there, and he knows that if XoxoHolic sees him moving out, he might just go for a really nice counter push.
That is true, but at the same time, that is exactly why I feel like it is a huge mistake for XoxoHolic to be making so many roaches. He has, let me see, that's 19 roaches out on the field, and there's really no reason to have so many roaches on the field. He should be droning. He is so far behind in economy. He does not have his gold mining yet, and meanwhile, Rigeki is on 3 mining bases, including the gold. XoxoHolic is so far behind in economy, he cannot be afforded to be making units, especially when he knows that his opponent is actually on his back foot, starting to lay back, starting to play more passively. I feel like XoxoHolic is going to come to regret making all these roaches. If he doesn't put them to some kind of incredibly good use, he has to use them. Maybe even has to do something as dramatic as to clear the gold base, which could even be done if he manages to catch these units out of position, but doesn't seem like it's what he's going to do, and I feel like that's really going to set him back in this game.
I would definitely agree, Sean. I feel like the only way for XoxoHolic to come back if he's not going to put on some sort of aggression is double expand, which it doesn't look like he's willing to do either. And that one Hellion is going to be
so much harder than he is right now.
That Hellion is patrolling those 2 bases, and that's going to make it very, very difficult. And there is a move out. Rigeki's moving out with lots of Marines, and Marines are pretty good against roaches with that stim.
With that stim, they certainly are, which is why, even with the glial reconstitution, I'm not I'm not a huge fan.
There is a Nidus Worm coming up. It looks like there will be a counter push into the main, and he's going to run by the army. He's going to go for a counterattack. It looks like he might be going for a base race. The Nidus Worm has gone up, but there's nothing in the Nidus Worm. He's not going to be able to spit anything out.
He's going for an attack at the front door, actually. He's not using the Nidus at all. It looks like he was using that as a distraction to get Rigeki's attention. It looks like it may be working.
That is exactly what it seemed like he was doing. And that was very Penguin-esque right there, what he was doing quickly there. And he's going to be moving in with these roaches, and he's going to be able to take out a lot of these productive damage. The question, though, is whether Rigeki's push will be able to do enough to... actually, it looks like it'll just end up in being a base trade situation. Rigeki, of course.
Base trade, Zerg always loses a base trade without a Spire, and XoxoHolic does not have a Spire, and there's no way that he can actually stop Rigeki from just lifting off, moving to the corner of the map, and just doing whatever he wants with his army. And these roaches are not going to be able to be enough to stop this counter push, especially with these tanks nice and sieged up. And I feel like we're going to see a quick 2-0.
But there are 7 infestors making, and the pathogen glands have been researched, so it's some nice fungal growth. He might be able to hold his main.
He may be able if he gets some money fungals, and there are no medevacs here. There's a single medevac, and that is not going to be enough.
Another stim, that will be very, very easy for these roaches.
Oh my god, he's losing all of his infestors. What is he doing? Oh my goodness, only gets 1 lousy fungal, and now there are only 2 infestors there to deal with the threat, and it looks like the only saving grace that he had is going to be taken away. And oh my gosh, XoxoHolic, if only you'd microed those infestors a little bit better. But it looks like he's focusing on the base trade, which is a bad idea because those floating buildings...
With some roaches. Will these roaches be able to hold this, though? Takes out one of the tanks very, very easily. And if these roaches can clean this up, Terran in this engagement here. And he's desperately trying to keep that infestation pet alive. And of course, he has only a few drones left and no expansion.
The roach is coming back, and it looks like they're going to be able to clean up this attack.
Oh no.
They're going to be able to clean up this attack, but he does not have a base.
He's actually lost this game. Because he has no way to stop Rigeki from lifting off and going to the other side of the map.
Exactly, and all of his production facilities are there. His gold is still mining, and he has absolutely no bases. This all-in has to do so much. No, this all-in has to end the game. This all-in has to do so much damage. He has to kill all the production facilities, and I just don't know if he has enough. He can just lift off and move to the other side.
And of course, with only 229 resources, he'll be wishing that gas was minerals because he doesn't have the money. And of course, that orbital is on fire, which it doesn't bode well for that, but the only thing
minerals, he doesn't have minerals to rebuild his base. He has nothing. This is all.
All he is doing is he's just going to be going and spending some money on...
He has a roach-born and 2 larvae. He needs to spend those. However little that may count, he has to spend those.
The only way for him to possibly win is if Rigeki decides that somehow XoxoHolic has enough money to rebuild the base. But Rigeki seems to know that there's really no way he can lose this game.
Really does not appear to be that does not appear to be the case at all, and I feel like
look at Rigeki's money as well.
Rigeki has a trust fund. He can probably send a couple of his kids to college with that money, and that planetary fortress going to spell absolute doom for XoxoHolic.
The mass repair on it it's going to absolutely hold off everything that these roaches can bring at it.
We're going to see a GG at this point.
GG from XoxoHolic.
Rigeki wins another CBT series, TBC series, and he is absolutely going to the semifinals. And here we are. Indeed, it is so. Congratulations to Rigeki for playing so well in all of his TBZs, getting himself to the point where he can actually, by winning 2 more games, he will guarantee himself a spot in the weekly tournament tomorrow. And that said, we're going to go to the next series. Wherever we are requested, wherever we are called, we
definitely
shall be. And I am Shan.
I enjoy doing this. I am PengWin.
And we shall see you in whenever.